Alright, so today I'm gonna talk about what the mandala flower really means. That'll be in the middle of the video. But one time I was watching Jimmy Fallon. I'm also not gonna tell you what I talk about, what I have planned, because I want you to fall into the storytelling, kind of like music. I want you to use your imagination and it's similar to how I write my books. But one day I was watching Jimmy Fallon and Neil deGrasse came on. He's like the smartest space guy. This was about 2 years ago. And I really hate when that guy comes on because he makes you think. He always tells you something new that's going on. He always mentions how things work. Right now there's a lot of alien talk. There's always going to be alien talk. But he has said the stars that are in space are not the same stars anymore. So I said, okay, I get that. Now, I use my science, my education to start thinking why, right? And this is what I mean when you catch up to people's work, to people genius, to people crazy. And it's beautiful because if it's not academic, it's for sure creativity. You know, it falls on either side of the spectrum. So the first thing I said, we must be moving linear like this. You know, so the earth is like a meteorite and it's moving then. If we don't have the same stars, right? So it looks like this. That's old stars, new stars. So we're moving linear. That's as much as my education can tell me. But then I did more research. And this said space looks like a graph. Which are why graphs are so important. So that's old and new stars. And Earth travels like an infinity sign. So we might go back in a million years to the old stars. And I thought that was interesting. Now, I go to Barnes and Noble sometimes by Rodeo Drive, and I sit down and I read the first page of the Neil deGrasse book. But I don't buy them. I'm also interested in your guys' college books. If you go to college, you buy your book, you rent your book, and you sell it back, you know, you can send that to me. I would love to read what you guys are learning, and I'll tell you what it means in my definition, my truth. And if you give it to me early enough, I might do your essay for you. If I get into the first pages, usually I do an essay with the introduction, the first 2 pages. I get about 8 pages of notes. So we'll put that in the air. Another thing, tectonic plates. You know, I use my education for this, and Earth. I like to imagine Earth started as a water bubble, like when you boil water, right? And the continents and the Earth was made through burning material. So when you boil water, the water will disappear. It would it would start burning the metal. But if you leave the the pot on the stove long enough on fire, that metal will burn, it will melt, it will turn to a lava lamp, it will start turning to crust, and it will find a way to get water out of that metal or in the atmosphere. So that's how I think the earth was created. A lot of the times they tell you you just gotta heat up the water. You just gotta do something in the water. So earth was just a boiling pot of water. And as it got hot and hot and hot and hot and burned and eventually made dirt or crust, right? It made continents. See, but you still try to think that tectonic plates are flat. And this is where I went down the rabbit hole. You know, they like to say tectonic plates are like fingers. They're long sticks instead. And you got America, South America, Central America, Africa, Europe, Canada. And they're on Earth like this. And they reach the core, the tectonic plates, where the lava is, the hot core, the metal crust. But they say in space, it looks like a spider web of a million tectonic crusts everywhere. And it breaks because in space, there's gravity forces, right? So everything will be connected if it was cold with fingers, like a clock. But since there's gravity forces, it breaks off in the center in space. So there's planets here, and in the middle, it's spinning, so it breaks and it turns meteorites and it shoots meteorites. So when they say when a big bang happens or the creation of Earth, it could potentially shoot fire and then freeze like little sticks. Instant cold. But I could be talking out my loony bean, out the cartoon brain of mine, right? Only a NASA guy will know. Like I said, if you'd like to send me Neil deGrasse books, I'll read them and make creative stories out there for you and your kids to get smarter. Also, if I got Spanish speaking people, I am Mexican, I can translate all these videos in Spanish so you and your father and mother could go crazy for a bit or woke and have a good time. I could make my comedy shows in Spanish. I could put all my comedy movies into 1 2-hour video, 1 3-hour video of me just translating everything you've seen on here. Which brings me to the moon. I like to think the moon was the meteorite that killed the dinosaurs, but it stayed in that gravity. It couldn't leave. And it hit Antarctica, right? Which froze everything. It turned into ice. You know, other planets have 2 moons, 3 moons, 3 other meteorites. That planet got hit 3 times. So which is why they have gases, planets, other types of different gases. But the fact that Antarctica is cold means it's dead. It hit the planet so hard, it froze that part of the continent. And they're saying it's unfreezing. The water is melting, which actually means it's a good sign. because the grass is about to be born again. Sun is about to reach that dirt is gonna come back alive, right? Um, so the moon was the meteorite that killed the dinosaurs, and to show you that there's gravity for the reason that it reflected back to pure dust. And there it is. You know, we live in a world where you see an empire, and then there's a revolt, a revolution, and then there's liberty, but there's gonna be another empire, and that's the pendulum swing. No matter what empire you're in, no matter what revolutionary revolt you get, no matter what liberty you get, you still are part of another empire. And that's what history is. I also have this theory where you have two suns, because there's the sun when it goes down, and then there's a sunset, and it's vertical. So there's a vertical, and the light shoots vertical. It doesn't shoot up and down. So there's the sun that goes horizontal, and then there's the sunset that shows its sun for 2 to 10 minutes, 30 minutes, right? And it shoots a sun ray vertical, right? Horizontal or horizontal vertical. So I also have this theory by just looking at the sun that there's two suns, by looking at the sunset and the sun. Understand it? A reminder, if you love to send me your college books, I'll be here working, reading. If you don't understand your material, the thing about reading books, reading people's assignments is, like I said before, through their writing, you can understand what kind of a man they are. You can understand how Donald Trump speaks, that he's racist because of the words that he picked. When you start to reach a certain level of education, the words that man picks, it's his character, it's his personality, and I can tell you what that is, or you can try to discover that on your own. And like I said, use Google, right? Use Google, every word, and you'll see people's personality in books. If you cannot see people's personalities in books, you don't understand the material. But if you would love to send me your college books and further my education and my writing, send them over. Send me a message on YouTube. And one page, I get lost. I'll make like 20 pages and music. And I tell you the truth in my own words, just how I tell these stories. You can send me space books, history books, romantic books. We could talk about love. I have been loved my whole life. Them girls. We can talk about them girls. Send me love books. I can tell you what I think. And we can tell you how guys and girls think beside the money. School is meant to give you a woman. It's meant for a lot of things. School. We'll get into that in other videos. Also, so the way fertilizer was made like how they make you believe drugs are made in a movie. It's all about the water cycle process. So it's all about putting things in tubes and see-through glass, cooking it up, and this little smoke comes out, and this little mist through, like the water cycle. It's called condensation, right? And that's how a lot of medicine is made. That's how a lot of alchemy, a lot of periodic table gases are made. And that's how fertilizer was made. See, fertilizer needs nitrogen, phosphorus, and this other nutrients, and most of that comes from that material. But one that everyone needed, we were about to die one day, but it comes from the air. So they started condensating air, putting heat in the air, and this tube, right? And it started collecting. I think it was nitrogen, and it was fertilizer. Now they add other things to fertilizers, but you can do that with rocks. You can cook rock like um, sodium rocks, calcite rocks. It's not those don't have any benefits into them, but you can cook gold, metal, and that gas that comes out is going to be a certain type of gas, and that's how the world is run. And you know what else you can cook up? And it's not just cook; it's cook with electricity. You can cook up electricity and see what water comes out of that, and it's cooked with different amounts of electricity. Which if you go down that rabbit hole, you can think about all of America's electricity. But one other thing you gotta think of is gasoline is white. It's like water. So they extract oil from the earth, but they cook up the oil, and when it cooks up and it turns to a gas, it condensates and turns to that white liquid called gasoline. So you ever seen that ball that has electricity and you touch it and it follows you and you so that's how they make fertilizer. It was just electricity in a ball. So when you touch it, it follows you, it follows your body. That's how they make fertilizer, and that's how they make gasoline, and that's how they make a million other medicines, which is beautiful. And I would love to get into that. I would love to start, you know, I would like to know all the flowers that cure you, and that's where my headache starts and my annoyance with the world. That you won't have that list of medicines. You won't know how to make them. I will, you know, I will make tea. I wish I knew all the teas that are beneficial to you, and how, it's all synthesized. So now they say they get the one amino acid or that one protein that's healthy and good for you. And it's funny because I had this teacher that would say, think of the consequences. And I always say, what if your medicine needed that dirt? But probably not, of course not. You want to be clean. That's why we saw how we are now. Like I said, we could talk about love. I've been to a lot of parties. I know a lot of you are on YouTube sharing our parties. They look fun. I've been I attended, Chico State. But my friends stay in LA. I left because I knew there was gonna be no teaching here. I knew the teaching was in Chico. You wanna know why I went to Chico State? Because I thought of the Trail of Tears. That's when they moved the Indians / brown people / Mexican from up Northern California and put them in Mexico, right? So I said, what if I pick a location that's close to where the Trail of Tears are at? So I looked at the California map and I looked at the schools, and there was one called Chico, and it's in Spanish, right? And I said, that's the one right there. And you have to understand that a lot of this research is being done on plants. It's being done on water, on nature, and when I went there, they entrusted me, they loved me, they mad I didn't participate, they mad I wouldn't do it as what I should have done. But I'm a stingy guy. I'm greedy. I believe in all profits are me. I'm a businessman. So I'm gonna show them what I got on videos. But in the college classes, I was really annoyed because I was going through this big turbulence of education, and understanding. They try to complain about not having water, and it don't make sense that it go up and down, but it look like it's coming from Washington. Like there's a dam up there that turns it on, turns it off. But anyways, So, I got a lot of stories. My friends in LA stay in Northridge. I've been in fraternities in Northridge. I've been in fraternities in UCLA. I have slept over at their dorms. I have slept in the same bed as my friend. We ate lunch, met old teachers that go to UCLA. We went to parties. And they're funny and they're interesting. Just hit up the DM. Uh, we could talk about love. We could talk about a lot. See, it's like, I always say if we stop talking about history, no one will know what happened. And that's the school system. In 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, they might be teaching your kids nothing you learn. And people won't even feel whatever they feel when they learn some type of history, right? And one thing I'm not doing is talking about going to the market, going to the liquor store, the 99-cent store, how I grew up, which don't really matter. Uh, you know, um, I'm here to make books. I'm here to write music. I'm here. I'm just here to make $1. You know what I find funny is the girls who show up the first day of school and on graduation, they're still telling the same joke. Like we ain't gotten smarter. Like we ain't learning. You still telling the joke from the first day of school. Like move on. And then you meet them 20 years later, and then they're still talking about the joke from 20 years ago. See, one thing I was always trying to get smarter. One thing I did, and I did this in high school. They call bad words like the F word. They call them curse words. It's funny. It's in the name. Like they're cursing you, and I'll tell you why. Because as a young kid, I've been around a lot of people. I don't even like to brag, but it's in the name. I decided as a kid not to say curse words anymore, bad words, because I wanted to get smarter. It was my decision, and it works. Um, but it's funny how it's called curse. Like you've been cursed to remain slow, to remain below average. If you speak like that, and sometimes I've been to old homies. I've been you know over here. I show to some parties, and they be like, why you talking like that now? And I used to, and I tell them, it's harder being this way. It's hard. And we just look at each other like, okay. And and it's crazy. Yeah, sometimes you may feel these emotions of trying to pursue something and hope you're good at it and hope you're you're well studied, well prepared, and and your friends look like they're out almost fighting, boom, 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 and you're just, bro, it's harder this way. And then you don't reach an age, and I sing my music, not even the young boy don't want to talk to you. But one thing I also did, so I stopped using curse words, right? And one thing I also did, I didn't want to use like no more, like metaphors like and as, and it's funny, it's ironic because they teach you that's a form of poetic expression. It's a form of creative writing. It's a form of writing. Um, I have attacked certain classes that I feel are designed to make you stay slow. For example, creative literature, the fact that they're teaching like and answer, we could get into that, but there's only some I remember. I got into it, and it's called the A through G requirements curriculum, where you learn the basics of everything. And I realized that even the word estimate is not used for numbers. Estimate is like for your memories, your vision, like to see space and planets. It's a visual thing. It's not a number thing. And you don't go around 5 and up or 5 down. Estimates is seeing big things, seeing small things. But they teach you in math. It's not a math thing. And it's funny because everyone says you don't use it in the real life. No, because it's used to develop your scientific hypothesis. You're going to school to develop an educated guess. You understand? That's what school is for. To develop a conclusion. That, like how scientists used to do. And this is all related to the Mandela effect, to a flower that everyone talks about. And I'm going to show you what it really means soon. But like I said, I stopped using like or as, and it's ironic because it's in music and it's in writing. Because imagine a girl talking, so I take off all my writing. I don't use like or as. I just say it straightforward. In my music, I used it because I just gave up, but I'm not ever gonna use it again because girl said it's like I was going down the waterfall. No, it's not. It's like I was going down the waterfall. Like, what you mean it's like? So that's what I mean. Don't say it's like. Just say how you feel and say your statement straightforward. It's like I was running really fast but couldn't keep up. No, I was running real fast and I couldn't keep up. You know, like it's talk like that, and that's a good form of being a better writer, a better spokesperson. And and one thing you should take note of is people that laugh at their own jokes, like YouTubers. Like I said in the other video, repeat what they say, how they speak in your head, and you understand all races. You understand all colors. And it's funny when the girls still laugh at their own jokes. That's why you see all the YouTubers after they say something. You know, it makes me feel better. If I had to change the way I was, you know, you gotta change the way you was. You know, I be hearing mad girls fighting, like, don't you want a coffee cake? You remember in middle school they used to give you coffee cakes, like coffee cakes are good. So the last and final part, the Mandela effect. See, I must tell you why writing is important, why poetry, singing, Shakespeare, and something I would never learn is experimentation, um, making technology. I will never learn how to make electricity, and I do my research, but I want my hands to do it. I will never get my hands on a robot. Who knows? It's sad, but I'm gonna tell you why writing and simple things like having a pencil is important because even drawing, because when the scientists first started before the Bible is in the Bible, all they had was a pencil, and the scientists had to draw to think of the space, the stars, the planets. They had to make music to understand psychology. They had to draw to develop hypotheses. So, for example, a scientist said, we're Earth, right? This is the first scientist in year one, let's say. The first scientist ever born, 2,500 years ago. He said, okay, if we're a planet, that's us, that's Earth, right? There's other lights, there's other stars. So the first scientist said there's more stars. There's more planets. And here, and here, and here, and here. And that's where the idea of us being a bubble comes from, because you look like bubbles and then you get into condensation, water cycle, hydrogen, gas bubbles, you breathing, and it's the whole fishbowl idea, right? But the guy said we're Earth. but there's other stars. So let's just use drawing. Let's just use, all we have is drawing right now. Let's use a pencil. All we have is a pencil. So let's say there's other Earth, right? And then you got the Mandela flower, where all these circles make a flower, right? But it's the first science, right? That's what they talked about when they saw the stars. And then as we innovate, we get smarter, we have technology, we learn how to draw better. Now we know Earth is like this. It's 3D. And that's the Mandela effect. That I use a paper and a piece of pencil to think about the planet and make it look a certain way on paper. And music was, and that's drawing. And music was for psychology, your heart, your love, feeling bad, good, a king, a poor man. And there's millions of years of all experience. And that's why I'm trying to let you know that people with high accolades, credentials, doctors, everyone, like the president of America, they respect a paper and a pencil, because that's how first science was made. They respect a musician, and that's why Hollywood and actors are well respected musicians, because they hope they're able to learn something new. It reminds them of the first scientists, the first Picassos, the first scientists that drew. Okay, and that's what they respect, a pencil and a paper. That's all they have back then. So there it is. Scientists, hypothesis, educated guess. There's more planets, there's more stars, there's bubble 3D. Sun over here. Moon over here. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm done because my mama home. Let her say hi. Mama, mother, come over here to say hi. Say hi. Say hi, because I'm a genius. I'm a genius. Can you see my brown eyes? Can you see my brown eyes? DJ got us falling in love again.